Hi everyone, Animal Girl here, back with another edition of Movie Talk. Now, I know I have posted a ton of video reviews on Marvel movies and whatnot. Everything from, well, basically about the only ones I've done Marvel reviews on were the Avengers and X-Men. But I've done a lot of those. So I decided that I'm going to put Marvels aside for a time being, and I'm going to review my other favorite group of comic superheroes, and that is the DC heroes. Now, I had originally planned to kick off my DC movie reviews with Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. However, I haven't yet watched that movie yet, and I didn't want to do a blind review on it. I wanted to at least be able to give you my opinion on the movie and whatnot. So, that one will probably wait a little while. I will get to it, I promise. But, in the meantime, I decided to kick off my to revise the kickoff of my DC movie reviews by doing a review on my favorite DC hero, and that is Batman. Gotham City has a very unusual protector, and that is someone who is referred to as the Bat, and who practically all the small town people or small town criminals are afraid of. While a journalist and a photographer dig into the real story behind Batman, Batman himself, also known as Bruce Wayne, looks into the antics of a new mob boss on the scene known as the Joker. Okay, highlights of the movie. This movie is made back in 1989, so it's not super old, but it is an old school DC movie. It was probably one of the most old school superhero movies that I actually have. It is an American superhero movie, and it is based on the DC comic hero of Batman. Now, just to clear things up for those of you who have not seen this movie, he is not referred to as the Dark Knight in this movie. That comes a little later in the franchise. But that is his nickname for those of you who are not big DC fans or not Batman fans. He is known as the Dark Knight, mostly because he wears mostly black. In some of the animated shows, it's black with a little bit of gray mixed into it. And I know in the two spoof shows, I think the 60s or 70s version of Batman with Adam West, and then the animated show Batman the Brave and the Bold, which was a spoof on the spoof, it's more gray and blue. But in everything else, it's black and gray. So hence why he's known as the Dark Knight. Okay, things I liked about this movie. First off, I love the story. Now, I know I'm probably going to get some DC fans and some Marvel fans here that are going to be arguing with me on this, but, to me, Batman is kind of the DC version of Iron Man to a degree, and I'm going to explain this so I don't get people yelling at me for it in the comment section. What I mean by that is that there are similarities between Batman and Iron Man. There are some similarities between some of the other Marvel heroes and DC heroes as well, but I'm going to focus on Batman and Iron Man for a second here. First off, both of them out of costume are very wealthy, very powerful people. Both Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne come from a lot of money. They have a lot of money, and they tend to use that money to help others, particularly Tony, after what happens to him to make him become Iron Man. Sometimes it's before, but Batman, it's a little more, you know, where that's coming from. Also, both of them are without their parents, although sometimes with Tony, he does have, like, his father. But for the most part, they're both basically they're basically both on their own. And they both have the reputation of that is completely different from the reputation of their superhero persona, although, again, with Tony, since some people know that he is Iron Man, it's not that much different. He acts the same in the Iron Man suit as he does outside of it. Batman, it's a complete day and night thing. When he's Bruce Wayne, he acts one way, and when he's Batman, he acts another way. Nobody knows who he is, who Batman is, out of costume. That's one of the big differences between Marvel and DC. Some of the Marvel heroes, people know who they are out of costume. But with DC, very few of them, if any, are known out of costume. They all have a secret identity that I'm sure. But that is one of the things that, why I say he's kind of like the DC, or the DC version of Iron Man. Another one is that he has a lot of interesting toys, I'm going to say. Iron Man has a lot of interesting toys with his different suits, and Batman has a lot of interesting toys with all of his gear. But that's basically where the similarities end. But again, it's enough for me to actually say that he is like that. Now, I know I'm going to probably have some DC and some Marvel fans that are going to be arguing with me on that. I'm fine with a debate going in the comment section over this. Just please keep it civil. Alright? If you want to debate the similarities between Marvel and DC characters, and how they are similar and how they are different, or how there's no similarity and or anything, or no difference or anything, feel free to do that in the comment section. Just keep it civil, please. I don't have to tell anybody to knock it off. But I did like the story. The story, aside from, or out of all of them, except maybe The Dark Knight and Batman Begins, gets into the heart of what made Bruce Wayne become Batman. Now, I know they cover this in a lot of Batman paraphernalia. They go back to what caused him to become Batman. It was the death of his parents. I don't believe that is a spoiler. Everybody knows that. But this one, they go a little deeper. You get the flashbacks and whatnot. You don't get that in, like, a lot of the other Batman movies, with the exception of The Dark Knight, possibly Batman Begins. That's the only other Batman movie I have not seen. And maybe Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of the Justice League. Again, I have not seen that one yet, so I'm not 100% sure on the background of that. All I know about it is that Batman, Superman, and I think Wonder Woman are in the movie. That's it. That's all I know about Dawn of the Justice League. And it kicks off the Justice League cinematalia. Much like how Iron Man kicked off the Batman, or not the Batman, the Avengers. Why did I say Batman? The Avengers franchise. But that's basically all I know about Dawn of the Justice League. And again, I will review that. Just give me a chance to actually sit down and watch the movie at least once, maybe a couple of times, so I can do an accurate review, and I don't want to do a blind review. Secondly, I loved the effects in this movie. Now, for an 80s movie, this had great effects. And I don't just mean the special effects. I mean the makeup effect on the Joker was amazing. And I'm just going to come out and say this. Best live-action Joker ever in this movie. I loved this movie's version of the Joker. All the other live-action versions of the Joker just did not hold up to this version of the Joker. Now, the animated ones, yes, they held up very well. But I believe a lot of the animated versions of the Joker followed this movie. And by the animated versions, I mean Batman, the TV show from the 90s, Justice League, also from the 90s, and Justice League Unlimited, also from the 90s. So they took probably a lot of the villains from Batman and Superman that were very similar, and mostly Batman, and followed through animating wise, and so they were actually very similar. And those are also the ones I grew up with. I watched a lot of the 90s Batman and Superman and Justice League TV shows. I hope I'm not dating myself here. And I also saw quite a few of the 80s Batman movies. Did I sit down and watch a lot of them as a kid? Not really. I caught glimpses of them. It wasn't until I was in high school that I actually sat down and watched the movies in and of themselves. So my dad watched them a lot, and I remember coming down and catching glimpses of them, of Batman Returns, Superman 1, Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4. I don't know how many other Supermans there were in that thing. So I did grow up with this stuff. That's probably why I like them a little bit more than the newer ones. And for me, the cutoff of the ones that I feel were the fantastic ones were Batman and Robin, movie-wise. After that, the other ones after that weren't terrible. I just didn't like them as much. I will do reviews on them, I promise. But don't expect as enthusiastic reviews as Batman up through Batman and Robin. Lastly, I loved the ending. Now this ending, I don't really want to give away too much of the spoilers, but it is a very iconic superhero ending, and also the way I would think to end a Batman movie. It was very well done. It sets it up for a sequel if they choose to do a sequel, which they obviously did, because there have been multiple Batman movies following this theme. And it does... I just liked how they ended it. I can't say anything more about it. It was a very good ending. Okay, cast. This movie had a great cast of actors and actresses and whatnot. Now, again, as you know before, I have forgone reading them off because I have stumbled over some of the names of the characters and or actors. So I'm just going to let you read through the actors and actresses that were in there. Now, I did the main characters. I didn't do everyone. And I'm pretty sure Star Wars fans are going to recognize the name of at least one of the characters that... not characters, one of the actors who was in this movie. Okay, now here's normally what I would have done the question of the week, but unfortunately, I have decided for the near future to forgo question of the week due to lack of interest. I am not getting a lot of answers to the questions I ask at the end of the videos, or I'm getting very few responses to the questions. So I've decided for the time being to just basically forgo that. If you guys decide later on down the line that you want me to do the question of the week again, I will start that back up. It'll be the same with TV Talk, but for now I'm going to forgo it. Now, however, you can feel free to leave your comments and questions in the comment section. I will respond to as many of the questions as I can, but please keep in mind I do work, and I do have other projects that I'm working on as well. So if I don't respond right away, I will respond eventually. You also have to keep in mind this is this is a different website. I don't, or email address. I don't check it as often as I do my Yahoo address. But I will try to check it at least once a day and respond to as many questions as I can. Also, feel free to like and subscribe if you're watching on Facebook, or like and share if you're watching on, or like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and like and share if you're watching on Facebook. And feel free to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, Wattpad, and DeviantArt. I do have my name for those 5 sites right there on the screen, as well as the pictures I used for the icons. Also, please note that all pictures seen within this video belong to their respected artists. I own absolutely nothing. Okay, quick reminder on my comment rules. Feel free to check out my other movie talk videos. My movie talk special edition videos. And my other videos. Okay, before I sign off, two things I'd like to touch on. First off, and this is for my YouTube subscribers, for a while TV Talk was posted solely to my YouTube or my Facebook page. It is now back to being posted mostly to YouTube and occasionally to Facebook as well. If you'd like to check out any of the backlog videos that are not on YouTube, you can feel free to check them out on my Facebook page. I will have the link in the description section. Also for my, and here's a list of all the TV shows I've either done TV Talk videos on or I'm currently doing TV Talk videos on. Oh, also please note for both my YouTube and my Facebook viewers, the other videos, Wattpad, DeviantArt, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, the links will be in the description section as well. Okay, and this one is for my Facebook friends. The majority of my videos are being posted to YouTube. I will post the links for those that are not posted on Facebook to Facebook. But if you're having problems viewing the links, you can check them out on my YouTube channel. The link will be in the description section. As always, thank you for watching and have a very nice day.